So we are back out on the bag yet again, finally, in this lovely weather that we're having. And we've come to Cudmore to do a little bit of filming, film a few bait videos. But the first thing I want to do, I want to run through sort of the range of pellets that spotted fin do and the reason why I use, or my thinking behind every one. I mean, pellet fishing for me, it's what I do. You know what I mean? And taking it to that little extra level, that 1 to 10%, doing things better when you're allowed, when you can use whatever pellets you want, using the correct or the perfect pellets for certain situations. I mean, for me, it makes a difference when my bait's behaving or, attracting fish in the right way that I want it to do. And what I want to do is just run through the different types of pellets that I use for certain situations that I think catch me a few more fish. So first I want to run through the quite basically normal type pellets. These are either the Caplets, the boosted course, or the F1 range, the sweeter range, and they're what I'd use for all my hard pellet fishing when I'm allowed. But I'll use certain pellets in certain different ways. In that my Caplets pellets, they're very much a carpy pellet. You know what I mean? The Caplets has come from the carp world. I mean, it was a boily flavour, whatever they use for the big lads. And for me, it's become very, very popular for all carp fishing venues like Viaduct, where you can use your own pellets. I mean, Hookbaits Boddington was mega there. Where you're fishing for big, proper commons and mirrors, I mean, it's sort of like a molassesy type flavour. I mean, that them big fish definitely seem to like. It seems not the sweet, small fish sort of flavours. So anytime I'm fishing for bigger fish, I'm always going to pick a Caplets pellet if I'm allowed. And I use them in my 6 and 8s when I'm fishing for big fish on a bomb. Not so much on a waggler. When I want to keep things down, I want to talk about waggler fishing in a minute. But yeah, when I'm choosing them big fish on the deck, that's always going to be my choice. I'm always going to pick Caplets pellet. The F1 range is what I tend to use when I'm fishing for small F1s, as it says. I mean, if I go to venues like Herringbrook, where I'm catching lots and lots of F1s, there's not too many carp. That's what I'm always going to pick then. I mean, not something I use a lot. It's a bit too selective for me. Maybe in the winter, in hard pellet fishing in the winter at a few venues I go to, that's where I'm going to use my F1 type pellets. And lastly, my boosted course pellets, which, to be honest, out this range, I'd say that's the one I tend to use the most, just because it's a plain, normal, nice fish meal smell. I mean, it's been boosted with betaine and some other attractants, but it's not got too much flavour in it, so there's no overpowering individual flavour to it. So if you want to, that's the one that you can add your things to. You can add your chosen flavour, additive, whatever you want. That's going to help with that pellet, whereas these are already treated with either the Cat or the F1 liquid. So your boosted course pellets are your more versatile one that you can add stuff to. But for me, pretty much on their own form, as they are straight out the bag, they're a nice fish meal flavour, just a normal pellety smell, if you like. It's what I associate pellets with, and that's what I'm going to use at 99% of places when I'm fishing hard pellets on the bottom on snake lake in 4s and 6s sort of size. I mean, the boosted course pellets, they're always going to be my first choice when it comes to that. Moving along a bit, and something I really didn't want to talk about this one, but Richard's made me, because these pellets are mine and I'd like you to leave them all for me, please, is the boosted carp pellets. And they're just something a little bit different. They're they're a slightly lower oil content of pellet. But what I find is that with the general types of pellets you can get these days, they're quite dense. So they have a decent oil content, but because they're quite dense, in the bigger sizes, the sort of 6 mils, or 6 mils in particular, I find that they're quite hard to group really tightly on your pole. I mean, when you're fishing shallow or whether you're pinging, I mean, these type of pellets, the Caplets pellets or whatever, the denser, the ones that have had a bit of liquid added to them, they can be a bit tricky to really group tight, and they also sink really fast. These pellets, the boosted carp pellets, all they've had is some attractants on them. So you can see they're a lot, I don't know whether the camera will pick them up, he'll do a little zoomy in bit for you, is that they're a lot lighter, which means that they're so much easier to group because they're all really perfectly uniform, they're all pretty much exactly the same, and they land so much nicer. For me, shallow fishing, they are unbelievable. They keep fish, just because they go in and they're not straight through that water surface and sinking within seconds, excuse me, they just hold up slightly in that, what's it called, the water tension, if you like, on the top, and they just sink at a lovely rate. It keeps fish shallow. So for me, the boosted carp pellets, either when I'm fishing for carp shallow on the pole or in the 8 mil size when I'm fishing a waggler, without a doubt, it's a massive edge that it just keeps them fish up a little bit longer. It's a fraction of a second. You can imagine that the normal pellet sinking at, 3 seconds a foot, they might sink at 5 seconds a foot. I mean, just for that first foot while they're breaking through everything, it keeps them fish up. That massive edge for me, they've been. It's like something that, please don't buy too many of them. I want, they're for me, yeah? Leave them alone. And finally, they said the last thing I want to mention, which has been a massive big edge for me last year pretty much, so we've not got to play with them too much this year yet, has been the boosted krill pellet. So not so much as a a feed pellet. I've not really fed them anywhere, but as a hook bait. I mean, I've talked about it in quite a few of my videos in the past, mainly about shallow fishing and mugging and that. And a red pellet it's unbelievable. I mean, I'll pick a red pellet up these days, and above any other pellet, I'll always choose a red one first, see what it goes. I just believe it stands out. You just get so many more bites using these either in a 4mm when I might be maggot or castor or worm fishing shallow, or even pellet fishing shallow, or especially a red one in a 4 and 6mm when I'm mugging or I'm fishing for proper carp shallow on a pole. So the difference it makes, why, I've no idea, maybe it's the silhouette, but it is unreal for picking them fish out, just getting bites so much quicker with a red pellet. I mean, that's been my biggest possible edge. So it's well worth having a tub. And so the thing about them is, with pellets I've used in the past, I've played them myself, I've dyed a lot of different colours of pellets in the past to use myself. And you find that if you dye them, they slowly, like, they're not as good. They release not the flavour, they release the colour. They go pasty quite quick. I mean, you just lose the colour really, really quick if you dye them yourself with whatever dyes. With these, they do not lose their colour one bit. The colour's all the way through them and holds into them, so it doesn't, change colour. You don't get a pasty white pellet after a few casts. You can use it for 10 or 15 casts or 10 or 15 minutes on a mugging rig or 2 or 3 fish. So, and you maintain it. It looks like a dry, brand new pellet still once you've caught a few fish on it. So for me, the biggest edge, without a doubt, for 2019, red pellets on the hook. They have been phenomenal. So hopefully, basically, that's the full range that we're going to cover for my summer hard pellet fishing, maybe when it gets a bit colder. All the different variety of pellets that are available, and it's definitely worth paying attention, just so you're using the perfect bait or perfect pellet for whatever situation. It does make a big difference. It catches you who knows how many fish. Using the right pellets to sink in the right way or that are flavoured in the right way, so it puts more fish in your net. For me, just paying a bit more attention, so you can definitely put you ahead of everyone, making sure you're using the right bait for the right time.